Hello everyone, I am Miss Sayyeda Tejani and welcome to another video lecture. Today in today's class we are going to start with chapter number 4 of your Maharashtra State Board textbook. Okay, the chapter number 4 says supply analysis, which is on page number 37. But before we start with this chapter, I would request you all to please watch the video of chapter number 3A, which has already been uploaded on the channel. Okay, why? Reason? Because the two chapters are very much similar. Okay, the only difference is that chapter number 3, demand analysis, 3A, demand analysis, was completely related to demand. There we studied the entire behavior of a consumer, of a buyer. That was the consumer side. Now in this chapter we are going to study everything related to supply. That is the producer behavior, the behavior of the seller. Okay, just like in that chapter, the way you have studied demand curve, the demand schedule, the law of demand, in this chapter you are going to study the supply curve, the supply schedule, the law of supply. Okay, the things are similar. In that chapter you had studied the determinants of demand, the things that can change demand. In this chapter you are going to study the determinants of supply, the things that changes the supply. In that chapter you learned about the assumptions and exceptions of law of demand. In this chapter you are going to learn the assumptions and exceptions of law of supply. In that chapter, in 3A, you learned about variation in demand, increase in demand, decrease in demand, contraction in demand, expansion in demand. In this chapter you're going to study all those things, variation, increase, decrease, contraction, expansion, but of supply. Okay, so if you have well understood chapter number 3A, chapter number 4 will be a bit easier for you because it is on the same lines. Okay, so we start with chapter number 4 of your textbook, that is supply analysis. Okay, supply analysis, just the opposite of demand analysis. Demand was the consumer side, the buyer side, supply is the producer side, the seller side. Okay, but before we start with the chapter, in the beginning of the chapter there are 3 terms given to you which you should know well. The first one is total output, the second one is stock, and the third one is actually the word supply. Okay, these are the 3 important terms which you should know first, and then we can move ahead in the chapter. Okay, so what is total output? Now you know the word output, something that is finished, something that is the outcome of something. Okay, you have a lot of raw materials, you put it in the processing mode, they become manufactured, and then the final goods come out, that is the output. Okay, so the goods which are final, which are ready for consumption, the consumer goods which are ready for you to consume, which are sold in the market, you can easily go and purchase it. Those type of a good, those types of good, the final goods, and that is known as total output. So whatever things are produced in an economy, for example Indian economy, all those things that are produced in our economy, all the things that are produced have gone through a process. Initially there was some input, some raw material which was put into the processing unit, which was put into the machines, which was put into the technology, and then a final product came out. So that is the output. Whatever things are produced, okay, in an economy, all the final goods that are ready for your consumption, that is known as total output. Next, stock. What is stock? If you ask a layman, even he will be able to answer something that you have extra, something that you have more, which you are not ready to sell right now. What are you going to do? You are going to store it in the godowns, you're going to store it in the warehouses. That is your stock. Okay, so for example, a very beautiful example and a very practical example is given to you on in your textbook, that is figure number 4.1. Okay, there is a huge tree of mangoes, and there are so many baskets of mangoes kept, but out of these mangoes, only the ones which are brought to the market is these many. So this is the actual supply. Now let's say, for example, let's say 4,000 kgs of rice. Okay, a farmer is producing 4,000 kgs of rice. That is his total output. Okay, that's the entire stock that he has. Now, for example, per kg of rice is rupees 40 only. Okay, is rupees 40 only. The seller will find it cheap. He will say, he might think that, oh, I'm not earning a lot of profit. So let me, for example, send to market only 1,000 kgs. Okay, now here the seller is profit oriented. He wants to maximize his profit. He does not want to sell off all his rice. उसे अपना सारा प्रोड्यूस जो है, अपना राइस जो है, एक ही दाम में just 40 रुपीज़ पे नहीं बेचना है. He is money minded. Every businessman is, okay, every producer, every businessman, every seller, जिस तरह से हम consumers अपना फ़ायदा देखते हैं. In the chapter of demand we saw that how we are buying more at a lesser price. So that time we saw our motive, that was getting more at lower price. Now similarly, even sellers have a motive that they are going to sell when the prices are high, when they're going to make more profit. That time they're going to sell off more products. So here the seller is thinking only 40 rupees per kg. I'm not going to sell everything. I'm going to stock up. I'm going to stock up the remaining 3,000, which I'm not going to supply now in the market. I'm supplying only 1,000 kgs in the market at this price. The remaining kgs of rice, I'm storing it in my warehouse, I'm storing it in my godown, I'm holding it at home. Once the price rises, okay, when this is 40, if it becomes 50, I will bring out some more. Why? Because here I will be earning more profit, 10 rupees extra per kg. So as and when the price will go on rising, the seller who is money minded, the seller who is driven by a motive that is profit, he is going to remove more and more kgs of rice for sale. So actually his total output was 4,000 kgs, out of which only 1,000 kgs could become his actual supply. Okay, and remaining he stocked it up, and that was his stock which was kept aside. So what is supply actually? This is the stock, the thing that is kept behind. Okay, the thing which is not supply yet, it is potential supply. ओके, ये अभी तक सप्लाई नहीं बना है. जब ये 1,000 kgs खत्म हो जाएंगे, फिर ये जो है सप्लाई बनेगा. सो दिस स्टॉक इज एक्चुअली अ पोटेंशियल सप्लाई. इट इज नॉट अ रियल सप्लाई राइट नाउ, बट इट कुड बी, it can become supply later on. So this stock is your potential supply. It will become supply once the current supply gets over. Okay, so stock is actually a potential supply, and stock is always more than supply or equal to supply. Okay, it can never be less than supply. जितना हमारा स्टॉक है उतना हमारा सप्लाई हो सकता है, या फिर उससे कम हमारा सप्लाई हो सकता है. सप्लाई कैन नेवर बी मोर देन स्टॉक. It is understood. Okay, how much ever is produced, that is the total output, can be my stock, out of which whatever is removed and which is sent to the market for sale, that is my supply. So now here the seller should be ready at a particular price. Now ये बंदा जो था, ये farmer जो था, ये producer जो था, he was ready at 40 rupees per kg, but only for 1,000 kgs. He still had in mind that somewhere down the line price will go up, and then he is going to supply more. So what actually supply is? Supply is that particular amount of a commodity which is removed for sale, which is sent to the market for sale at a price on which the seller is agreeing upon. He is ready to sell at that price. Here the seller was ready at 40 rupees per kg only for 1,000 kgs. When the price increased, मान लीजिए उसने 2000 kilo, 2000 kgs he removed. Here at 50 rupees, he is ready to sell 2000 kgs. Why? Because he is getting more profit at this price. So supply is actually that particular amount of a commodity which the seller is ready to sell at a particular price. Okay, which he is ready, he is like, okay, ठीक है, मैं इतना बेच सकता हूँ इतने दाम पर. So that readiness of a supplier, of a seller, that actually becomes your supply. So stock is something which is static, it is not moving, it is kept in the godowns, that is why it is static. Okay, it is stationary, it is not going to the market now, it is not being supplied now, it is static. But here supply is actually a flow concept. Why it's a flow concept? Because it is coming out of the storehouses, it is coming actually out of the warehouses and from the godowns, and it is actually flowing into the market, and it is ready for the consumer. Okay, so the basic difference between stock and supply is usually asked as a 3-mark question or a 4-mark question, could be asked in a short note, could be asked in agree disagree type of a question, could be asked in distinguished form of a question. So you should be able to answer that. Stock is a broader concept, it is something that is big, and supply is comparatively narrower because it is always lesser than or equal to stock, but it can never be more than stock. Okay, so this question usually comes for 3 to 4 marks, and the beautiful example that is given to you in the textbook, please refer to it and read it out. It's given really very nicely. Okay, now I hope all of you have understood these 3 terms. Okay, once you have understood these 3 terms, let us move to the law of supply. Okay, the law of supply, the most important answer or the most important topic of this particular chapter, can be asked for 8 marks. Now bifurcation of this particular topic is usually they will ask you a question, state and explain the law of supply with assumptions, or state and explain the law of supply with exceptions. Okay, so this is usually a question which is combined with either assumptions or it is combined either with exceptions, and it is asked for 8 marks. Okay, so the law of demand that we have done in chapter number 3 is it is as important as that. Okay, law of demand जिस तरह से हमने step by step with the schedule and then with the diagram, the law, what it states, the formula, जिस तरीके से हमने किया था, same step से we are going to do the law of supply. Okay, whenever this type of a question is asked to you, first thing you are going to write is the introduction. And in the introduction, what are you going to include? 3 things. Who has given this law? Okay. When and in which book? Okay. And what is he trying to say in this particular law? So this law has come to us by Professor Alfred Marshall. Okay, in his book Principles of Economics. I hope you remember his book Principles of Economics, which we had done last year in your chapter number 1, class 11. You had various names, you had 4 names of 4 economists, Adam Smith and Alfred Marshall and Robbins. Okay, I hope you remember that. So Alfred Marshall was the guy who has given us this law of supply in his book Principles of Economics, and that book was published in 1890. Okay, so more than 130 years more than that. So, and what is he trying to say in this law? In this particular law, Alfred Marshall is showing us the relationship between 2 things. Okay, what are these 2 things? Price and supply. He is trying to show us how these 2 are related to each other. If you remember, in chapter number 3a, we had done the relationship between price and demand. Okay, now here we are doing the relationship between price and supply. The same concept, the formula is also similar. Okay, diagram, schedules, everything is similar, but here the only difference is the movement of the curve. Okay, movement of demand curve was something else, and movement of supply curve will be something else. Let us do it. Okay, first and foremost, Alfred Marshall, Professor Alfred Marshall, in his book Principles of Economics, which was published in the year 1890. Okay, he has given us this law, and he is trying to show us the relationship between price and supply. How are they related to each other? Okay, introduction में आपने इतना लिख लिया. You are sorted with the beginning of the answer. Now, moving towards the statement of the law, what actually he is trying to say. The compulsory phrase of this particular answer, you are going to write other things remain constant or other things being equal. ये other things क्या होती है? Now these other things are price के अलावा वो सारी चीज़ें जो आपके सप्लाई को बदल सकती हैं या एक सेलर के सप्लाई को बदल सकती है, दैट इज नोन एज अदर थिंग्स. ओके, जिस तरह से हमने डिमांड के चैप्टर में किया था, डिमांड के चैप्टर नंबर 3A में वी हैड स्टडीड प्राइस के अलावा बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें थी जो कंज्यूमर का डिमांड बदल सकती है. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, प्राइस को छोड़कर आई हैड माय इनकम. एज एंड व्हेन माय इनकम विल राइज, my salary will rise, automatically my demand will change. तो प्राइस के अलावा मेरी इनकम थी, ओके, जिसने मेरे डिमांड को बदला. अनदर एग्जाम्पल, एडवर्टाइजमेंट. ओके, प्राइस के अलावा हम टीवी पर जो एड्स देखते हैं वो भी हमें चीज़ें लेने पर इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं. ओके, सो आवर डिमांड चेंजेस बिकॉज ऑफ अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स अदर देन प्राइस. सिमिलरली एक सेलर का सप्लाई जो है, प्राइस के अलावा बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें हैं, ऐसे फैक्टर्स हैं, अदर थिंग्स हैं जिनकी वजह से सेलर का सप्लाई भी बदल सकता है. ओके, सो दे आर नोन एज अदर थिंग्स. But what Alfred Marshall is trying to say, he is saying that those other things should not change. Only and only when price is rising or when price is high, that time supply is also rising, supply is also going up, rising. And when price is going to fall or price is falling, price is decreasing, reducing, the supply from the seller will also reduce, will also come down. So you see there is a movement of arrows in the same direction. When price goes up, supply also goes up. When price goes down, supply also goes down. Here, why does it happen? Very simple thing, and a very a thing which is related to common sense, or it is a business tactic. The seller wants to increase his profit. The seller is money minded, profit oriented. He, as and when the price, if he sees that in the market price of a thing is increasing, to make more profit he will supply more. Okay, so this is the natural tendency of the seller to earn more profit when the price is higher. And when the price falls or when the price reduces, the seller will think, oh, who's going to bear so much of loss? Let it get stored in my godown. When price will rise, that time I'm going to sell. Now let it be in my godown. So he doesn't want to lose his profit. He doesn't want to make losses. That is why when the price is low, his supply will also become low. यहाँ अगर आप देखें तो ये arrows का जो movement है, it is in the same direction. Let me remind you children that in chapter number 3A, when we were studying demand, what we had studied, when price is rising, that time demand was falling. When price was falling, that time demand was rising. Okay, ये हमारी कंज्यूमर की नेचुरल टेंडेंसी थी कि जब हम चीज़ें महंगी देख रहे हैं हम उसे कम डिमांड कर रहे हैं, और जब हम चीज़ें सस्ती, प्राइस इज फॉलिंग डाउन, जब हम चीज़ें सस्ती देख रहे हैं हम उसे ज़्यादा डिमांड कर रहे हैं. सो दिस वॉज द नेचुरल टेंडेंसी ऑफ द बायर, and this is the natural tendency of the seller. So here it was an inverse relationship. Okay, ये इनवर्स प्राइस और डिमांड के बीच में जो रिलेशनशिप था वो इनवर्स रिलेशनशिप था, बिकॉज द एरोज वर मूविंग इन ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन, बट हियर द एरोज आर मूविंग इन द सेम डायरेक्शन एंड दैट इज व्हाई it is a direct relationship. The relationship between price and supply is a direct relationship. When one moves up, the another one also goes up. When one falls, the other one also falls. Because the arrows are moving in the same direction, there is a direct relationship between the two. So you're going to write the statement, other things being constant, when the price is high, the supply will also be high, and vice versa. When the price is low, supply will also be low. And you will give this symbolical representation of relationship between price and supply. Compulsory to mention that they have a direct relationship. Okay, next your formula. Now हमने जब डिमांड का फॉर्मूला किया था, it was as simple as it is similar. Demand of any commodity X. This any X could be anything. Many children get confused, many students get confused with this X. What is X? It could be any commodity. It could be toothpaste, it could be t-shirt, it could be mobile phone, anything. Demand of X depends upon or is function of. F means function of price of X. X का डिमांड किस पर डिपेंड करता है? उसके प्राइस पर. Similarly, the formula for supply. Okay, what is the formula for supply? Supply of X, any commodity X, is the function of or depends upon the price of X. Okay, this is the simple formula that is given to you on page number 39, yellow color highlight. Okay, supply of any commodity A, B, C, X, Y, Z, whatever it is, it depends upon or is the function of its own price. Okay, so as and when the price will be high, the supply will also be high. As and when the price will fall, the supply will also fall. So supply is nothing but it is a figure which depends upon the price of that particular thing. So this is your formula. Okay, I hope you have understood so far. After writing this much, formula compulsory to write, and when you're writing the formula in your answer, please do highlight it, okay, or make a box presentation kind of a thing, and inside you can in bold and neat handwriting you can write this particular formula. Then you move ahead and you're going to mention this. S stands for supply, X is any commodity, F is function of or depends upon, and P is the price of. So you're going to mention what these abbreviation, what these symbols stand for. Okay, after writing so far, you are going to make the supply schedule. What is supply schedule? जैसे हमने demand schedule किया था, a table divided into 2 columns. The same way you are going to do the supply schedule. A table you are going to make. You're going to make 2 columns in that. One column will be showing your price and another column will be showing the quantity that is supplied at that particular price. Okay, this particular thing in the textbook is given on page number 40. Okay, I hope everybody can see, and table number 4.3. Okay, 2 columns. This is my supply schedule. Okay, whenever you are making any diagram or any table, please name that particular thing. All of us are with names, right? Our parents have not left us nameless. So the same thing we are going to do here. We are not going to leave our diagrams and tables nameless. Okay, so this is the name of this particular diagram, that is the supply schedule. Now on one side you are going to write the price in terms of rupees, and another side you are going to write the quantity that is supplied. Okay, the quantity that is supplied. Okay, this is in kgs. Okay, now slowly and gradually you will go on putting numbers. What are these numbers? It is in terms of rupees. Okay, 10 rupees, 20, 30, 40 and 50. आपको दिखाना ये है कि ये नंबर बढ़ते चले जा रहे हैं. द नंबर्स आर इंक्रीजिंग. इनिशियली इट वाज 10 rupees, then 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. Here, when the price was rupees 10, that time the supply was 100 kgs. Okay. जब प्राइस 10 रुपए पर kg, okay, when it was 10 rupees per kg, that time the supply was 100. Slowly and gradually price started increasing, and slowly and gradually the seller started becoming more money minded. He said, okay, the price is increasing, let me also increase the supply. So from 100 he made it 200. Similarly, when the price became 30, he further increased the supply. He made it 300. When it became 40, he made it 400. He kept on increasing his supply with only one motive: more profit. Okay, he is profit minded. Every seller is, every businessman is. Okay, and when finally the price became rupees 50 per kg, now he has the chance to earn maximum profit. So he has increased his supply and made it 500 kgs. So this simple numbering is your supply schedule. आपको शो क्या करना है, यहाँ दोनों तरफ आप देखेंगे कि नंबर बढ़ते चले जा रहे हैं. मान लीजिए आप यहाँ पे 100 ले लें, तो यहाँ पे भी आप नंबर बदल सकते हैं. ओके, इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी टू मग अप द एंटायर टेबल. use your common sense, use your understanding, and you can choose the numbers. If you make this 200, 300, 400, 500, you can make this 2000, 3000, 4000, 5000. Similarly, you can reduce it also. Okay, so this is just a concept which is trying to show, this is just a table which is trying to show that as and when the price is rising, the supply is also rising, and it is the natural tendency of the seller, of the producer, to earn more profit. Now this same thing we are going to plot it in our diagram. Okay, so diagram, very simple. Whenever we are making any diagram, we are going to first name it. Okay, this was my supply schedule, so the name of my diagram will be supply curve. Okay, supply curve is the name of my diagram, the name of my curve. I will be making my x-axis, my y-axis, my point of origin. Okay, this is my supply curve. Here I have my y-axis and my x-axis, and this is my point of origin. Okay, here I am plotting price. Sorry, I am plotting price in terms of rupees, and here I am plotting the quantity that is supplied. Okay, quantity which I am supplying. Now you will fill up the numbers. Okay, and because I have erased it from here, you can have a look in the textbook. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. This was my price, so I will plot it. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. After plotting this, I am going to plot my quantity. My quantity was 100, 200, 300, 400, and finally 500. Now when the price was 10, that time I was supplying only 100. So I will, in the line of 10 and in the line of 100, I will plot a point. Similarly, when my price increased, my quantity also, my supply also increased. In the line of 20 and in the line of 200, I will plot a point. Similarly, in the line of 30, when again the price rise, the quantity also rise. In the line of 30 and in the line of 300, I will plot another point. Same way, when it became 40, the supply became 400. In the line of 400 and in the line of 40, I am plotting another point. Finally, when it became 50 rupees per kg, my supply became 500 kgs. In the line of 500 and in the line of 50, I am again going to plot a point. After plotting these points, I am simply going to join this with the help of a scale. Okay, when we use proper scale, something like this would not happen. And this is my supply curve. Okay, the supply curve, how it is moving, it is moving upwards. Okay, it is moving ahead from left to right. Okay, it is very important to mention that your supply curve moves upward. Okay, when we studied chapter number 3a, that was a demand curve, that slope was downwards. Okay, because there was an inverse relationship, the arrows were moving in opposite direction. Here we have a direct relationship, and that is why the arrow is moving upwards, the supply curve is moving upwards. Okay, from left to right. So in short, when you are answering this particular answer, your introduction is a must. After that, your statement along with the price and supply symbolical representation. Okay, then your formula, then your supply schedule. Okay, you're going to explain the supply schedule in 2-3 lines, and as and when the price is rising, from 10 it became 20, from 20 it became 30, and finally it became 50, the supply also increased, and ultimately it reached 500. Similar, after that, after explaining your schedule, you will make this diagram and finally explain the diagram in 3 to 4 sentences, that my y-axis is showing the price, my x-axis is showing the quantity supplied, SS is my supply curve, the curve is moving upwards from left to right. Why it is moving from left to right? Because there is a direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. Okay, that's it. You are sorted. Your 5 marks are sorted. Now this particular question comes with either assumptions or exceptions, which usually comes for 3 marks. Okay, so 5 and 3, that's your bifurcation. 5 marks for the law and for the diagrams, for the table, and 3 marks for either exceptions or either assumptions. So that we will be carrying forward in next video lecture. We will stop here at this topic, the law of supply. I hope everybody has understood. If you like the video, if you like the way I teach, please do give it a thumbs up, please do like, share and subscribe, share it with your friends. Please help the channel grow. Thank you so much. See you in the next class. Bye bye.